Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another FIFA 22 video where today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my best tips and tricks if you are someone who is brand new to FIFA and you've never played before, or if you are someone who is coming back from a long layoff maybe and you've played previous FIFA games and you are new and you just want to come back and try this one out. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of the best tips and tricks that you guys will be able to use to hopefully get yourself back into shape and up to fit and fighting shape to be able to take on FIFA at its height. So today I'm going to be sharing with you our best tips for you guys who are beginners. Now this is generally for people who are very new to FIFA or haven't played in a long time and just need to get back into it. Now my first tip would simply be to avoid playing online. Now if you haven't played FIFA before, or if FIFA is brand new to you and you haven't played for a long time, you'll know that FIFA is quite a sweaty game online. It is very much about abusing meta and mechanics and things like that. And if you're someone who's just generally not very good, I'd recommend avoiding playing online. I think it's one of the worst things that you can do. It's really, if you go into games and you're getting smashed 7, 8, 9, 10-0, whatever it may be, it's just going to deter you from playing the game. And at the end of the day, we all want to play games to have enjoyment. So if you're someone who's getting battered or just someone who thinks they might get battered, I would avoid playing online because I think it's one of the best things you can do to begin with, to enhance your enjoyment when playing the game, not playing against people and getting battered every game, because nobody wants that. Now, one thing that I would recommend if you're someone who wants to play Ultimate Team is to play on squad battles. Obviously, playing on squad battles is against the computer. It's very, very easy. You get to select the difficulty in which you want to play, so you can play on beginner, you can play on amateur, semi-pro, pro, wherever you want to play. Obviously, if you get up to legendary and elite, that is very, very hard this year. So I'd recommend to anyone who's brand new, try on beginner, try on amateur. Just get your feet under the table, see what skill level you can beat, and ultimately it's about getting comfortable with just playing the game and just getting confident about scoring goals, you know, because at the end of the day, FIFA is a game about confidence. The more confident you are when you're playing, the better you'll play, the more relaxed you play. You go into games, you're feeling really, really confident, you'll play a lot better. So I'd recommend going on one of these difficulties, trying them out, seeing which one suits your current style, which your current level, and then work your way up from there. Now, one of my next big tips would be to try and A-grade all of the skill games. This is definitely something that's overlooked. Obviously, everybody gets the game. Everyone just kind of wants to rush in and play games and just have fun. But ultimately, if you are somebody who wants to get better, and you know, a lot of people who are obviously watching this video are in the same boat, one of the things I'd recommend is A-grading all of the skill games. The skill games might seem quite boring, and some of the early ones are. You can just see like this simple passing drill, very, very simple. But quickly you'll learn, as you get up to some of the more difficult ones, you'll learn a lot of the basics when it comes to FIFA. And FIFA, at the end of the day, the more you can master the fundamentals of the game, just the simples of passing, you know, you have to have a good base, a good foundation of the fundamentals of FIFA. And just by doing these skill games, making sure you A-grade everything, is going to give you a really good set of fundamentals and basics to be able to now potentially start tackling some of the online gameplay. If you can't A-grade all of the skill games, probably playing online FIFA is not for you. So I'd recommend trying to A-grade as many of these skill games as you can. And I'd also recommend trying to work on just one at a time. I wouldn't recommend jumping from passing to defending to shooting to dribbling. I'd recommend just trying to work on one thing at once. Don't try and jump between many different things, because it's going to get a little bit complicated for you. So I'd recommend trying to A-grade as many of these skill games as possible. It's definitely going to help you out in the long term and just give you that basic understanding of and the basic foundations you need to succeed in FIFA and just any FIFA going forwards. Now, one of the next things that I would recommend, I see definitely some people, is they want to kind of fast forward and they want to kind of just like learn everything really fast. My tip would be to don't overwhelm yourself, and it kind of, you know, follows on from the last point that we made, is you don't want to kind of try and learn too many things at once. Try and focus on one thing. Don't try and overwhelm yourself and learn 10 different things. Don't be trying to learn how to pass and how to shoot and how to defend and how to do skill moves and all these crazy different things. Just try and learn one thing at a time, get comfortable with it, and then move forward. You can just see very simply, you know, we're just slowly starting to build up an example here as just on the practice arena of just skill moves. Started off with just some basic ones, just simple step overs and whatnot, and now we're starting to add in some of the more complex skill moves. You know, we're starting to build our way up, and this is what I'd recommend. If you're someone who's just brand new to FIFA, want to learn some skill moves, just practice one skill move first. Maybe just practice step overs, get good at it, you know, take it in some game situations and practice it. And when you feel like I've got this down and I'm ready to move on to the next one, then bring another skill move in and go into another one, and then go, right, now I'm going to try and learn the fake shot. and then try and master the fake shot. You can see now how we're starting to level up the skills that we're using, and this is what I'm saying. To begin with, focus on just learning 1 or 2 skill moves, master them, make sure you've got them down, and make sure you've got them, you know, nailed, because ultimately the more you can nail a skill move and the more you can kind of know it off by heart, the easier it becomes, because then you have more arsenal, you have more tools in your arsenal, and you're able to kind of become a better player that way. So don't try and overwhelm yourself and learn too many things at once. Try and take it quite slow and steady, because you're not going to jump from being just brand new to FIFA to being a pro in a couple of weeks. It's going to take time, and make sure you do focus on doing those things. And then one of the last tips I have for you is to definitely try, and if you have friends, if you know someone who plays FIFA, I'd recommend trying to play against someone who is a bit more experienced. This is one of the biggest things that I did. When I was brand new to FIFA, I first got FIFA when I was like 11 years old in FIFA 11. One of the things that I did is I had somebody who I could play against regularly who was better than me, who knew the game, and I was able to kind of learn off them. Obviously, I didn't learn everything immediately, as we said in the last clip. It took a little bit of time to get used to the game and just understand how it all worked and put together. Just the gameplay alone, let alone so many other things that come with the game, just learning the basics. But being able to play against someone who is more experienced than you, not necessarily someone who's going to be able to batter you every single game, because, you know, getting battered, you don't learn anything, especially if you don't have the possibility to maybe record games and watch them back. But ultimately, if you can play against someone who's a little bit better than you, ideally someone who is a bit better than you. So if you're someone who is a proper beginner, never played before, playing against one of your friends maybe who is a Division 10 player, a Division 9 player, who's just a bit better than you, knows the game a bit more than you, because they're going to be able to give you some tips that are going to help you get to their level. And then once you're kind of equal level, you'll be able to play against each other and you'll be able to help. Now, one thing that a lot of people might suggest is watching pro players or watching top level players. If you're someone who is a beginner, I would not recommend watching pro players and watching the top tier players, because you're not going to be able to do the things that they do at your current skill level. To do some of the things that happen at the top level of FIFA, you obviously have to be incredibly skilled. You have to have a lot of knowledge of the game. They're not things that you as a beginner will be able to implement. So I would not recommend watching pros. I would definitely recommend watching some lower skilled players who are better than you, and then work your way up the ladder. You have to kind of think of it as a ladder system. You know, to get to the top, you have to go through each step on the ladder. You don't just go from the bottom step to the top step. You have to work your way up, and it's no different in FIFA. You've got to work your way up. So I wouldn't recommend watching top level players. I'd recommend, if you can, play against someone who's a bit more experienced than you. And if you can, try and record your games. If you have the opportunity and the possibility to record your games, you'll be able to see some mistakes and things that you make, and you can go, okay, I seem to be doing this a lot. How can I fix this? And maybe you can then go and search up on YouTube. There might be some videos regarding that thing that you maybe need to fix. For example, you may be jumping into lots of tackles and leaving lots of space. You can then go and look for, hey, how can I fix this on YouTube? And there might be some videos then you can watch. All of a sudden, you're starting to recognize mistakes and things that you may be making, and they're going to help you become a better player. So today are some of my top tips for beginners. Ultimately, the more you play to begin with, you just got to play. You got to get into it. You got to realize what your strengths are, where your weaknesses are. You kind of got to just know where your strengths and weaknesses are before you can begin to improve. But if someone who is a rank beginner, these are some of the best tips that I can give you today. So hopefully you can take them away and you'll learn something, and hopefully you'll become a better player. And if you do have any questions, do let me know down in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer every single one of your guys' questions. Do drop a thumbs up if you did enjoy the content. It does massively help out, and subscribe as well if you are new to the channel. But that is all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.